BTC Audiobooks, an imprint of Goose Lane Editions, presents Peace by Chocolate, the Hadhad family's remarkable journey from Syria to Canada. Written by Jon Tattrie. Narrated by Majboub. Directed by Barbara Mantini. Dedication. Nova Scotia Strong. Prologue. Theobroma cacao is a strange tree. Its slender green leaves drip with water in the humid Amazon rainforest it calls home. It loves moisture. If it gets shade from the sun and protection from the wind, it can grow as high as 10 meters. Some trees grow alone, while others flourish in families. White and pink star-shaped flowers sprout directly from the trunk. When pollinated, they produce a fruit known as a cacao pod. The red or yellow pods grow about 30 centimeters long and 10 centimeters wide. Their skin is almost as hard as a coconut shell. Monkeys, squirrels, rats, and bats were the first creatures to learn the secrets of the chocolate tree, but the gods weren't far behind. The animals gnawed open the pods, which never dropped from their trees, and harvested the sweet, milky pulp inside, tossing aside the brown seeds or beans. Eventually, people living in the eastern foothills of the Andes observed the animals devouring the cacao pods and tried the pulp themselves. One day, thousands of years ago, a forgotten genius decided to collect the beans from the pulp and roast them. Cacao seeds were mashed to make a crude, bitter-tasting paste, and mixed with water, chili peppers, vanilla, and other spices and maize to prepare a revered beverage. Zoologist Alan M. Young notes. The taste changed the way the ancient people looked at the tree, a change reflected in the name it was later given. Theobroma cacao, the food of the gods. To prehistoric Mesoamericans, writes Young, the cacao tree was the embodiment of the earth's treasures and spiritually represented a bridge between earth and the heavens. People used the pods as money as far back as 1600 BCE, or as sacrifice to the gods in return for rain and healthy crops. The devout put chocolate beans at the center of mystical rites. The fat pods were stowed in canoes and transported great distances, where they held high value for those who had no access to the chocolate tree. The fruit of the tree spread to the Olmec people of the Gulf Coast of Mexico. The Mayans used chocolate drinks and included images of chocolate trees and cacao pods in their sculptures of warrior priests and nobility. At the ancient city of Chichen Itza, a Mayan lord clutches a chocolate tree with a strong right arm. Cacao pods decorated stone incense burners. Regular people spent chocolate coins, and when the coin was too old to be accepted as money, they melted it into a drink for a sacred send-off. The Mayan ruler of Tikal in modern Guatemala took on the name Lord Cacao 1,300 years ago to show his wealth. The Mayan dead took chocolate drinks to the grave for sustenance in the afterlife. The Aztecs forced conquered people to pay tribute in cacao beans and amassed great wealth. In Tenochtitlan, their capital in the Valley of Mexico, warehouses filled with cacao beans. Proto-chocolatiers sun-dried the beans, then roasted them and ground them into a paste mixed with water. They added vanilla or maize, patted it into a little cake, and stored it for later use. When the rulers called for chocolate drink, the chocolatiers broke off a piece of the cake and added water and red achiote. It poured out like blood as they tumbled it between vessels to make a frothy drink. Finally, they poured it into a crafted tortoise shell and handed it to the ruler. They called it chocolatl. The great Montezuma built several large warehouses to store his cacao cakes and protected his wealth like it was gold or silver. When marauding Europeans overran the ancient world 500 years ago, the conquering Spanish quickly developed a taste for it. Under Spanish rule, a rabbit cost 10 beans, a horse 50, a slave 100. Prostitutes charged the conquistadors 10 cacao beans. The brutal Hernando Cortés once
Sample complete. Ready to continue?